The Brazen Bull, history's most terrifying execution device. Introduction, a device of pure terror. In the dark annals of human history, few methods of execution rival the sheer horror of the Brazen Bull. A device so cruel, so ingeniously sadistic, that it turned punishment into a twisted form of entertainment. Born in ancient Greece, under the tyrannical rule of Phalaris of Sicily, this gruesome contraption was designed not just to kill, but to transform a victim's agony into an eerie spectacle, a machine where death itself had a voice, the invention of the Brazen Bull. The story begins with a man named Phalaris of Athens, an ambitious inventor who sought the favor of a ruthless ruler. Phalaris crafted a life-sized bull entirely out of bronze, hollow on the inside with a small locked door on its side. But this was no ordinary execution device. Inside, an intricate system of tubes and chambers was designed to manipulate sound. The victim's screams would be distorted, emerging from the bull's mouth as a haunting, almost lifelike roar. Phalaris presented his invention to the tyrant Phalaris, hoping to impress him with its ingenuity. He explained how the Brazen Bull would not only execute criminals, but also entertain the masses with its terrifying acoustics. But Phalaris was not a man to be outdone. Suspecting Phalaris of sadistic arrogance, he ordered the inventor himself to be the first to test his own creation. Phalaris was locked inside as a fire was kindled beneath the bull. As the flames grew, the hollow metal chamber began to heat, and Phalaris's agonized cries were transformed into an eerie, monstrous bellow. However, before he could perish, Phalaris had him pulled out, only to have him thrown off a cliff to his death shortly after. The painful death, a slow and agonizing end. Imagine the sheer horror of those condemned to the Brazen Bull. The air inside quickly turned scorching hot, burning flesh while the victims struggled to breathe. The metal walls became searing, turning the chamber into an oven of unimaginable torment. There was no escape. Every desperate scream only fed the illusion of a roaring beast, masking the true horror taking place inside. For the spectators, it was a macabre display, a brutal reminder of the tyrant's power. But for those inside, it was a slow and excruciating descent into death, their final moments spent in unbearable suffering, their bodies reduced to charred remains. The Brazen Bull was reportedly used to punish individuals accused of severe crimes, often those seen as threats to the ruling authority or religious order. While historical records are limited and sometimes exaggerated, the following types of people were likely condemned to this gruesome fate. 1. Political opponents and rebels tyrants like Phalaris of Sicily, who allegedly used the Brazen Bull, were known for their brutal suppression of opposition. Anyone accused of plotting against the ruler, attempting a coup, or inciting rebellion could face this horrific punishment as a warning to others. 2. Treasonous individuals. Those accused of betraying the state, conspiring with enemies, or undermining the government's authority were prime candidates for extreme punishments like the Brazen Bull. It was a way to eliminate threats while making an example of them. 3. Religious offenders, sacrilege, and blasphemy. In ancient times, disrespecting the gods or defiling sacred sites was considered a grave offense. Some accounts suggest that individuals accused of sacrilege or heresy could have been subjected to this execution method to demonstrate divine retribution. 4. Criminals accused of heinous acts. Although less common, some stories claim that severe criminals, such as murderers or those who committed particularly vile acts, could be punished in the Brazen Bull. However, this was more of a tool for political intimidation than standard criminal justice. 5. Enemies of the tyrant. Many tyrants in history used brutal methods of execution, not for justice, but for maintaining fear and control. Personal rivals, suspected conspirators, or anyone who displeased the ruler could be sentenced to death by the Brazen Bull, often without fair trial or evidence. The fall of Phalaris. A fitting end? For years, Phalaris ruled with an iron fist, using the Brazen Bull to punish his enemies and instill fear among his people. But as history has shown time and time again, tyranny breeds its own downfall. Phalaris was eventually overthrown, and in an ironic twist of fate, he was executed in the very same Brazen Bull he had used to terrorize others. Justice, or poetic revenge, had been served. Was the Brazen Bull real? While ancient texts describe the Brazen Bull in chilling detail, some historians question whether it was ever truly used or if its existence was exaggerated over time. The stories come from sources that may have been biased against Phalaris, painting him as a monster to justify his downfall. Regardless, whether real or myth, the legend of the Brazen Bull endures as one of the most horrific execution devices ever conceived. Was the Brazen Bull commonly used? There is debate among historians about whether the Brazen Bull was actually a widely used execution device or if its existence was exaggerated as propaganda against Phalaris. Some argue it may have been symbolic or used only in rare instances to terrify the population. Regardless, its legend remains one of the most horrifying examples of human cruelty in ancient punishment. Conclusion: a legacy of horror. The Brazen Bull stands as a grim reminder of the depths of human cruelty. Whether a tool of real execution or an exaggerated tale meant to demonize a tyrant, it represents a time when suffering was turned into a spectacle and death became a form of twisted entertainment.